welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. We're playing at Paul's house today. We're using some of his lovely terrain. We'll just quickly highlight this beautiful Forge World piece in the middle. What is this? This is...
now you're asking. It's an imperial sector of some kind or other.
I think it's a manufactorum.
Yes.
Yeah, but you spent quite a lot of time painting this one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Looks really cool. I like all the different colours on it, unlike most scenery pieces where there's only kind of like a couple of different bland colours. I like the red and the blue.
You don't want to try and paint one of those without an airbrush.
Very true. Looking at that, I've forgotten to deploy my scouts, which I shall do shortly. See, we've got some other terrain around the table. This is terrain that we use for Infinity as well as for 40k. So see that around there, and we're playing on a lovely Frontline Gaming fat mat. So, mission today. We're playing a mission called Build Up. So, using a slightly new way of doing objectives, which I've come up with. So there are 5 objectives on the table. One in the centre, one that side, one over here, one that Paul has deployed down there somewhere, and one that I've deployed in my deployment zone down here. The idea is that at the end of every player turn, each player that controls an objective can choose one of 3 effects to happen to that objective. The first effect is you can choose any of the mysterious objective effects to apply to that objective until somebody chooses a different one. It's just a way of trying to make the mysterious objective rules slightly more useful. So if you need Skyfire, you can apply Skyfire to it. If you want to be less assaulted, you can employ the grav wave generator so you don't get assaulted as much. Just a few little effects like that. The second ones, which actually help you win the game by victory points, you can choose to increase your victory point total gained from that objective by +1. Up to a maximum of 4. So you control that for 4 player turns in a row. That's worth 4 victory points for you at the end of the game. The caveat there is you don't need to even control it at the end of the game. So if you spend 4 turns building up an objective and then you leave it and the opponent doesn't come and do what I'm about to say next, then you get 4 victory points from it at the end of the game. The next rule that applies to them is if you control the objective, you can reduce your opponent's total there by 2. So it's much more useful. You can kind of like choose your tactics at the end of the game. If you're within reach of 2 objectives on the final turn, you can go to one that's got your opponent's points on, reduce it by 2, or go to another one and increase yours by 1. You're better off reducing your opponent's by 2. The thing is, you can't have victory points awarded to both players there. So before you can increase your victory points from an objective, you have to reduce your opponent's to 0. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So each objective basically has a score attached to it, which either gives you a bonus or your opponent a bonus. When you control it, you can increase yours and decrease what your opponent gets from it. So hopefully that makes sense. The other way to gain victory points this game is from killing the enemy units, shocker. But again, that's similarly done in kind of like a build-up mechanic. At the end of each game turn, you add up how many of the opponent's units you've killed, and there's a little chart. If you've only killed 0 or 1 of the opponent's units, you gain no victory points. If you've killed 2 to 3 of the opponent's units, then you gain a victory point. If you've killed 4 to 5 victory points, you gain 2 victory points. And if you've killed 6+, then you gain 3 victory points. So tactically, you may not want to kill a unit a turn. You might want to weaken some units and then plough in and kill all of them at the same time. You gain more victory points that way. It's just another way of making the kill point mechanic slightly more interesting, putting a bit more tactical thought into it. And then there are 3 secondary objectives, Line Breaker and Slay the Warlord as normal, and then we're playing Solo Blood instead of First Blood. Some tournaments use this one. It's basically, in a game turn, if one player kills an opponent's unit and the opponent doesn't kill any units, they get the victory point for it. It can only be awarded once, just like First Blood, but it gives your opponent a chance to respond to it. So at the minute I'm going first in this game, if I were to kill one of Paul's units, then I only gain the victory point for that if he fails to kill one of mine in return. And you can score that on any particular turn. So if we keep on killing one of each of our units every turn until the 5th turn where Paul kills one of mine, I don't kill one of his, he gains the victory point at that point. Okay, so I hope that all makes sense. So 3 different ways of gaining victory points really. And let's have a look at the armies we bought today. So we remembered that we're doing the video after we deployed our armies. So I'm playing 2,000 points of Imperial Guard with Blood Angel allies. So the Imperial Guard force consists of 1 platoon, which is 2 infantry squads. I apologise for the unpaintedness of this bit. So 2 infantry squads, each has an autocannon and a grenade launcher in, and then the rest are bog standard. In the platoon, I've also taken a squad of 20 conscripts down here. I use the Chaos Cultist models for them. and they are being led by a Militarum priest to give them fearless. They don't just run away at the first sign of danger. Other infantry we have at the back here is our platoon command squad, no upgrades whatsoever. We have a squad of veterans which are deployed inside this Chimera. The Chimera has a heavy flamer. The veterans have 2 plasma guns and a heavy flamer. The army is led by Commander Pask. He's in a Punisher with 2 multi-melters and a las cannon. He's also got camo netting and a dozer blade, so loads of upgrades. He's got with him an exterminator, pretty bare bones. It's got a las cannon upgrade. It's there to soak some wounds for him because they're part of the same unit. We have a Wyvern anti-infantry tank, pretty deadly. And to round off the Imperial Guard, we have an Eradicator Nova Cannon sporting Lemon Rust with 3 heavy bolt guns. That's the big ignores cover blast tank. Oh, one other thing in my Imperial Guard army. I have a squad of 4 Bullgrins. You don't see them on the table very often. They're led by a priest, and the Bonehead Bullgrin in there has got a power maul and a shield that gives him a 5-up. It's called something strange. Blood Angel support comes in the form of a Sanguinary Priest with a jump pack and a bolt pistol. You have to pay 1 point for your bolt pistol on those for some reason. And he is leading a squad of 8 Sanguinary Guard. Most of them have got swords. There are 2 axes, 2 melter pistols, and a banner in there with a power fist. There are 5 bikes with 2 grav guns, 1 combi grav. Troops, I have 5 scouts with sniper rifles. We use the Space Marine rules for the scouts, so these scouts are actually BS4 and weapon skill 4, even though they're Blood Angel. And lastly, we have a Sakaran battle tank armed with extra heavy bolters. Okay, that is my 2,000 points of Imperial Guard. As you've probably seen, Paul is playing Tyranids. I wonder what he's bought.
Okay, so I haven't played for about a year, so I tried to pick an army I thought would be reasonably simple for me to use. So I've gone back to my Tyranids, which I love. As ever, we are being led by a winged Hive Tyrant using double Devourers. He has got the Psychic Scream and Onslaught psychic powers. For troop choices, we've got 2 Tervigons. This one's got Onslaught, and this one's got Psychic Scream. I didn't roll up a very varied set of psychic powers. It's the same ones twice. And of course, 2 units of 30 Termagants, which will allow those Tervigons to be used as troops. In my elite slot, just mostly for the psychological effect it has on Mike specifically, I've got
I hate them.
2 units of Hive Guard, one lurking down here behind these crates, the other right up the other end of my line behind this building. In fast attack, I have a Hive Crone, which I've deployed on the board, and another Hive Crone, which is hiding in reserve. And in heavy support, I have a Tyrannofex with the acid spray gun and electroshock grubs, and a Trigon Prime, which is currently in reserve, and a regular Trigon, which is in reserve. And that brings my army up to 1,995 points.
Okay, end of Imperial Guard and Blood Angels. Let's just call them Imperium turn 1. Didn't go as well as I'd hoped. Due to all the line of sight blocking on the table, it's hard to get fire lanes with my tank. So my Sakaran moved around here, and I moved this guy up here who's got plasma gunners in the back. First shot of the game was my 2 plasma gunners from inside this tank. Double one gets hot. Killed one of my plasma gunners. This was firing at the Tyrannofex. I fired the 6-shot rending gun from here, did 1 wound along my heavy bolters to him. Then, because he's so big, I could get line of sight to him with various other units around. I ran forward and shot using an order my Imperial Guard conscripts. I fired this unit over at him, and I think I hit him with a blast from the Eradicator. Didn't do any more wounds to it though. His 2-up armor's pretty safe. Other stuff that happened, did I wound the Tervigon at all? No. I killed some Tervigons over here with the Eradicator with its Nova Cannon and its heavy bolters. Over here, the Wyvern fired and blew a massive hole in that Termagant squad. 8 dead, I think. I positioned these guys up here to take that objective, and realising how dangerous the Tyrannofex was to me, my grav guns have moved over here as they are monstrous creature killers extraordinaire. Other stuff, the Bullgrins ran a paltry 2 inches forwards, so I was hoping if I got a 6 I could have got to within that objective, but I didn't quite make it. Pask and his dude moved up here. Pask failed his split fire order, so this tank had to fire on its own up at Paul's Harvey, which is half hiding behind a building. Pask couldn't see it at all, so got no shots off. Bit of a waste, but I did put a wound onto that, not the best. My scouts fired down to it as well and put another wound on it, so 2 wounds dealt to the Harpy. Other than that, we did nothing. So what did we set this turn? I controlled 3 objectives. I controlled the one in the middle, which I'd given myself +1 victory point for, so that's 1 for me at the end of the game. As long as Paul doesn't reduce it, I gave +1 victory point here. And then this one at the back, I decided I'm probably going to have that for many turns this game, as it's sitting in the back of my board edge. I decided to give it Skyfire. So next turn, I can use that to give Skyfire to one of my units in control of it. So if I wanted to, I could back Pask up, gain control of that, and then Pask and his unit have Skyfire, which seems pretty handy. Let's see what Paul does on his turn.
Tyranid turn 1. Okay, so all of my guys kind of move forward a bit. All the guys on the ground were kind of shuffling forward. The Hive Crane shot forward quite a lot because he really wanted to get Pask to be the closest one of that formation to him, so that he could fire his tentaclids off and try and do some what's called haywire. The Hive Tyrant moved over here because he's slightly worried about this Skyfire objective, so he wanted to make sure he was not going to get gunned down. He wasn't quite so concerned about his Hive Crane though. So then we pooped out some more termagants here. Got another 7, I think. No, slightly more than that. Oh yeah, there's 7 over the other one.
You got 13.
13 and 7 over here. So minus the 16 Mike killed last round, I'm up 4 termagants so far. And then in the shooting phase, we unfortunately, after doing all that, the tentaclids both missed, so Pask's tank is unharmed. However, the Hive Tyrant managed to destroy the Chimera, and because Mike didn't manage to destroy any of my units, I will get the solo blood objective this round. We cast Onslaught on the Tyrannofex, who then sprang onto this building and bathed the front of the conscript's unit in acid and electroshock grubs. As you can see, that quite seriously deleted a number of those. And that was, I think, oh yes, these Hive Guard here decided that discretion was a better part of valor and are staying hidden behind their crates, but they shot in some shots over on here, and I managed to get a lucky hell point off of the tank. And that's all the casualties I inflicted, right? The Chimera and some dudes and a nicked the tank. So quite a slow start to the game. I have ticked up the objective in my home base, which has this unit of 7 termagants on it, and we will see how it goes as we move into round 2.
End of Imperial turn 2. So the main threat this turn, because I've got so much infantry over this side of the board, is this giant great Tyrannofex. So first thing I did was I moved up this squad here with their plasma gun to open fire. Rolled a 1, gets hot, killed himself. 2 turns, 2 dead plasma guns, no hits acquired. Not good use of points there. The rest of their guns just pitter-pattered off it. I first rank fired, second rank fired. My giant squad here up at him. Did nothing. My bikes moved over. They fired their 9 grab shots. Hit 7 times. Wounded 7 times, I think. Unfortunately, because he's standing on a bit of air trade, he gets 5 up save. Paul made 4 of his 5 up saves, so he took only 2 wounds from it, or 3 wounds. Last thing I had that could really fire at him was my Sikaran, which had moved up here to get shots onto the Turvigon, but it fired up there, managed to get another couple of wounds through, but it wasn't enough. It has taken 5 wounds, it's still on 1 wound, and it's going to toast this objective quite happily. And it's just absorbing so much of my firepower from around here. These guys, the priest split off them and has joined this squad to make them fearless instead. These guys with their leadership 5 I don't expect staying around for very long, but they have moved forward and claimed the objective, which is kind of what they're there for. Down here, the Nova Canatoting Eradicator battle tank fired and wiped out all but 1 of this squad of termagants. Then over here, I backed up onto the objective I'd made Skyfire last turn, and I opened fire with Pask and his other guy. They split fire. Pask blew away the Harpy, which was floating above, and the other one managed to put a single wound on the Hive Tyrant. Oh, we need to do a grounding check.
Was he on a 1?
On a 1 or a 2. He's on the ground! I couldn't charge him though because he was surrounded by termagants, but my Blood Angels here assaulted the termagants. There were 22 of them. In a brilliant, he does, yeah. In a brilliant feat of maths, they managed to kill 21 of them, locking themselves in combat with a single termagant. Awesome. It's exactly what I would have wanted them to do. Over here, the Bulgrins made an 8-inch charge and locked up another unit of termagants. This time they killed a fair few of them, but this was a massive squad, so they're still there. My Wyvern managed to wipe out the spawn squad of termagants from last turn, and that, along with, what did I kill over here? I killed the Harpy. Gave me 2 kills so far this turn, but if I get 2 more on Paul's turn, for instance, 2 units of Hormigants, that will boost me up to an extra victory point. So, not the worst turn ever. The scouts did nothing. They're a bit out of position. Let's see what happens on Paul's turn.
Tyrant turn 2, I was got quite good. I got 2 of my 3 reserve units. This Hive Crone came on, and a Trigon Prime erupted from the deep. I still have a regular Trigon in reserve. So for movement, I spawned another unit of Gaunts over here who have strung out to grab that objective. We did a bit of a shuffle around the back. The Hive Guard came along to guard that objective. The Tervagon came out to do a Psychic Shriek, although the Psychic Shriek was counterspelled. The Ogrins are too stupid to suffer from psychic effects. We moved this Tervagon over as well. The Hive Tyrant swooped over here and did a Psychic Shriek that worked, shattering the morale of the conscripts and also inflicting some wounds on another Imperial Guard squad as well. So then we got into the shooting phase. The Tyrannofex, who was amazed to still be alive, vomited all over the Imperial Guard that were down here. As you can see, we've reduced their numbers quite significantly, but they're fearless, so they're still hanging tough. The Hive Crone came in and shot its tentaclids down, hitting the tank with a haywire shot, and then the 2 Hive Guard, who are now starting to press forward, finished it to the job. So that was quite good, got rid of that annoying tank, it was quite effective. I spawned another unit of Gaunts here to protect their mama, but the Sanguinary Guard finished off that one Termagant, so they're going to come and try and kill her, and I'm sure that won't cause too much difficulty for them. Other thing from the shooting phase, the Hive Tyrant managed to put some wounds on the bikes, 3 wounds on the bikes.
Yep.
They failed their leadership check and then drove off the edge of here and losing another one of their number as they tried to flee. Obviously, being Space Marines, they'll be back in the fray, but they're down to just one grav gun now, which is a lot more. That's something which variants can deal with, whereas I definitely couldn't take another volley like the last one. So unfortunately, I only managed to kill 1 vehicle, so I don't get any victory points for kills this turn. But Mike managed to finish off this Termagant squad, who only had 1 left, and his Ogrins managed to finish off another Termagant squad. So he managed another 2 kills, so he actually got another victory point, pushing the scores up to, I'm on 1, and Mike is on 2. In terms of the objectives, I've fully powered up the one in my home base. Mike, you've fully powered up the one in your
No,
home
it's only on
base?
3 because I've swapped it to Skyfire.
The one in the centre didn't get touched, so that's still set to Imperials 3. The Trigon got rid of the power which had been put into this one over here.
Imperial turn 3, and that was a pretty stellar turn for myself. So first things first, over here, Pask and these other tanks manoeuvred a little bit. They're still holding the Skyfire objective there. So Pask managed to split fire. He shot over there, did nothing to a Tervagon, but the other tank blew a great big hole in the Hive Tyrant, dealing it 3 wounds. It only had 2 left, so it's down. Random fire over here. This tank at the back took out most of the Hormigants over there. These guys and these guys, with no better targets, fired into the Trigon. I think I may have done a wound in total to it, so that's not awful. These guys managed to rally, and with their 3-inch move, claimed the objective for myself. That was awesome. The bikes up there managed to ride outside without killing themselves, killed the Tyrannofex. Sanguinary Guard at the back positioned themselves so they could charge multiple things if they needed to, but in the end decided, because they wanted their Furious Charge bonus, to just charge the Tervagon. Wiped him out in close combat, and that killed 2 other Termagant squads which I'd reduced to small numbers nearby, so that's 3 kills just there. 1 up here, 1 over there. Sorry, 1 up here, 1 over there. What was the 6th thing I killed?
You killed this unit.
My Wyvern, which is a choose a Termagant unit, delete it style thing, wiped out the Termagant. So they're giving me 6 kills this turn. That translates to 3 victory points. That was pretty nice. Ogrins charged in over here, did 4 wounds to the Tervagon. So overall, that was a stellar turn for myself. I've controlled this one. That's now up to 4 VPs. One in the centre is up to 4 VPs. One over here is on 1. Paul's got 1 for that one, and he's on 4 VPs for the one that's hiding behind that building. Paul needs to do something pretty drastic this turn, I think.
Tyrant turn 3. Things aren't going very well at the moment. My Trigon didn't come on, so he's still hanging out in reserve. That's probably the best place for him, given how the battle's going. We passed all of our instinctive behaviour checks, because we are now down to just 2 synapse creatures, the Trigon Prime and the Tervigon. The Hive Crone moved over here and vomited all over the top of this building, which, if you recall, had a bunch of Imperial Guard on it. They're on the Imperial Guard now. The Hive Guard took pot shots up at these people who are controlling this objective.
Conscripts.
They've broken and are running downstairs again, so up and down for them. I felt that the Sanguinary Guard was going to run around killing all my units, and my best chance of defeating them was to throw the Trigon in. Unfortunately, when I threw the Trigon in, I did exactly 0 wounds. He made the one feel no pain save that he was required to make, and then hit me back, and I have now got 1 wound left with the Trigon, so he's just hanging on for the next round of combat, but will almost certainly die then. Maybe he can try and redeem himself by doing some damage in that assault phase. Over here, the Ogryn and the Priest wailed on the Tervigon a bit more, dealing another wound. So there's 1 wound left on this Tervigon as well, and the Tervigon didn't manage to do any wounds back. And that was about it, really.
He did go caw.
He did. So, so during my psychic phase, so before that assault, I managed to cast Psychic Scream. He's my last remaining psyker, so he got all the dice. And Mike rolled an 11 on his 2d6, which was 6 wounds, which is enough to take out the front row of the Ogryns.
They made me feel it's only leadership 7.
Yeah, so that was quite good. But I didn't manage to kill any units or do anything else.
The exciting combat between Hive Guard and Scouts.
Hive Guards versus Scouts. The Hive Guard moved so they can't be seen by Scouts and killed another Scout. There's 1 Scout remaining. Leadership check for him.
They're consistently doing 11 points of damage a turn, those Hive Guard.
Yeah, unfortunately
they're still there.
They'd need 10 turns to get their points back at that rate. So that's not good enough. So at the end of this turn, Mike is leading 6-1. I'm getting 4 points here and 1 point here for 5, but Mike's getting 4 here, 4 over there, and another 1 over here. So he's getting an extra 9 at the end of the game.
Imperial turn 4. So what happened this turn? Still keeping with your lovely Skyfire objective over here, Pask's squad. That moved here. Pask is still there. He just fired his las cannon, and the other one fired all his shots up at the Hive Crone over here. I got 3 wounds for everything, but Paul managed to jink all of them. But at least he's jinking, so no Evil Flame template this turn. I fired up my Imperial Guard here and here. The Imperial Guard here, which the Priest has now joined. And the running away cultists, I call them. They're actually prisoners. What are they called? Conscripts. All fired up at him. I think done 1 wound total, is that right?
Total, yeah.
That's including the fire from this as well, so not particularly brilliant. The bikes just stayed put. Over there, the Ogryns, they managed to beat up the Tervigon, but in return, it got 3 hits, 3 wounds in. The Priest managed to get re-roll saves this turn, so he tanked a couple of them, then died, and then the Ogryn managed to take the other one on his little shield. So he's going to go Hive Guard hunting this on my next turn. Over there, the Trigon finally rolled decently and butchered 3 of the Sanguinary Guard, but then the Sanguinary Guard cut him up with their swords. So it is looking pretty good for the Imperials at this point. Let's see what Paul does with his turn.
Turn 4. So the Trigon was a late show to the party, but eventually turned up. He burrowed up out of the ground. I intended to bring him down here, but he scattered all. He was going to come up here and shoot those Imperial Guard, but he actually came up here, which actually turned out to be better for me. He shot his containment spines down at the Imperial Guard unit that was there, killed I think 4 of them, and the other 3 had to turn and run. So I've got 2 units fleeing here. He was also within range of the objective, so he could turn that off. So that's been reset to neutral. My Hive Crone was jinking, so it couldn't draw this round. So it came and vector struck the guy who was hiding under here, the sole guardsman that was alive from that squad, and didn't do anything else. These guys resorted to instinctive behaviour, so they had to shoot at the 2+ armour save guys, which wouldn't have been my first choice for them. Didn't do anything, of course. Over here, these guys thought they'd better get in on the Ogryn before the Ogryn got in on them. They missed with all their shooting attacks. Managed to put a wound on him, but he made a save, and then he failed to do any wounds back, so that was a big old draw. So I scored a point this turn for killing Mike's Priest in his player turn, and the lone guardsman in my player turn. So it's now 7 plays 2. On the objectives, I've currently got this one for 4 and this one for 1. But Mike's got this one for 4 and that one over there for 4.
4 and that one's
That one
to
is
0.
set to 0 at the moment, going into his turn 5. Things look pretty bleak.
Imperial turn 5. So this turn, these guys continue to move over here. They have still got Skyfire shot up at the Harpy, who is now on 1 wound left. I fired all these other ancillary squads up at him, but his Jinx saving was pretty sweet, and he failed to take any more damage. The Wyvern stuck a single wound on one of these 2 Hive Guard. The Sanguinary Guard leapt up here and charged into the Trigon. My shooting missed all of its shots with the Melters, which I really needed an extra wound on. And then in I went. He killed 2 of me. But that was including a Sanguinary Priest. Oh, 1 on Overwatch, so 3 total. I chose to lose a Sanguinary Priest just because I really needed the Power Axe and the Power Fist to be able to actually hurt it. They managed to put another 4 wounds on it, leaving it on 1 wound, unfortunately. So it's got initiative on me on Paul's turn, so it's not looking good for my 2 heroic men in gold. Over here, my Grav had Skyfire due to this objective up here. They fired up at the Hive Crone, but failed to do anything with their Grav. Over here, my Bullgrin managed to kill a Hive Guard in combat and then chase off the other one and kill him while he ran. But he only got 1 inch consolidate, failing to get onto the objective hiding behind there. My Scout is running away but might turn back now that he knows there are no Hive Guard to butcher him. So scores on the doors. Paul has 1 there, 4 there. I have 4 down here, 4 up there, and this one up here is now contested by the pair of us. And kill points on the doors. I only killed 1 unit that turn, which is a bit annoying. I've left 2 monstrous creatures on 1 wound, but Paul has killed my Sanguinary Priest that turn, so he needs 1 more kill.
I actually got it already because you had your guys run off.
I had my guys, so Paul gained a victory point that turn.
So I've got 3 and Mike's got 7.
Okay, on to Paul's turn 5.
Currently turn 5 didn't take very long because I've only got 3 units left. The Hive Crone flew over the bikes, vector striking 1 as it went. The Hive Guard mounted the building and took out the other bike with their shooting, so I managed to take out a squad. And then the Trigon at the remaining Sanguinary Guard, so I took out another squad. The Trigon ticked the objective here up to 1, and none of the other objectives have been changed, so it's still 4 to Mike over here. Where's that dice gone?
It's underneath it.
It's on 4 anyway.
4 over
4
here.
to Mike over here. 1 for me here and 4 for me here. So I've got 6 and Mike's got 8 on the objectives. So game ends on a 1 or a 2.
Game over.
That's the end. So that is an extra. Do you have line breaker? Can you check whether my Trigon is in a line breaker
Yeah,
position?
he I believe is. He looks like he's a bit 12. Yep, just.
Stretchy tape measure time. So that means you're getting an extra 8, 9 points, which will put you on 16. And I'm getting an extra 6, 7 points, which will put me on 11. So you win by 5.
Ooh.
I thought I might get tabled, so I'm quite happy.
Halfway
I'm
through.
quite happy to lose by
That second
5.
Trigon made a big difference.
Yeah, he was a
Killed
good one.
this squad, killed 2 in that squad there.
Although if the game went on to 6th turn, I'm pretty sure I'd lose both my remaining monstrous creatures.
Yes, Pass was now in range of moving to wherever.
So I'd be down to 2 Hive Guard, who might be able to tick that bridge up to 2, but then your Ogrin would be ticking my thing over here down by 2, so I'd only fall further and further behind at that point.
Pass didn't do much that game, but I think the fact that he basically stopped you from coming within 24 inches.
Yeah, he had such amazing board presence that
The Skyfire objective combined with the squadron rule, so I could really spread out around it while gaining the Skyfire was really powerful.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. I really like the way the objectives work in this mission.
Yes, I tried to. They're designed basically because if you play standard objectives, it's all about the end game state. So I basically designed how these objectives work so that you're kind of rewarded for how you're doing throughout the game, but it's not the standard kind of like it's not the Maelstrom cards. It's still using objectives, so still giving you focal points to try and stay on, and they work reasonably well.
Yeah, very well.
I was unsure whether it should be you gain a point if you control it at the end of your turn, or whether you do it just end of each player turn as we did it here. But I felt there was a bit more variance that way.
No, I think this is the way it should work.
More opportunity for it to go up and down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to have got a game of 40k in after all this time, so I'm very happy about that as well.
Yep, you killed my Force Karen. Oh. Still hasn't done much. Everyone says they're really, really broken, but I never take them in the broken loadout they can have. Pretty seems reasonably good. This game has taught me Hive Guard aren't that scary.
Yeah, they did rubbish. They didn't even manage to go. The ones who were down here managed to kill 4 scouts.
Yeah.
And the ones who were over here,
They killed a bike, I suppose.
they killed a bike and they did 2 hull points to that. Actually.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So that's not too bad.
But not the super scary things that they used to be.
I don't know if they don't have the psychological terror. Then they're definitely not getting my points with it.
Yeah, the AD-14 I think was the main problem you had. As you can see, none of the AD-14s have even been scratched.
Well, I never even wasted a shot on them because it was obviously not going to do anything.
Yeah, the only thing you hurt them with would be your tentacles, really.
And I'd need a lot more than 2 tentacles around.
Yeah, it just doesn't add up, does it?
No.
They're missing half the time.
No. And they're 4 hull points, aren't they, the Leman Russes?
3.
Oh, okay. So it's still an average of 6 tentacles to take one down.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much for watching the video, guys. See you next time.